argument.
Yeah, so each argument gets one theta role, and each theta role gets one argument. There's a one-to-one mapping. There can't be an argument with more than one theta role, and there can't be a theta role given to more than one argument. That's the theta criterion.
So now we're going to look at applying the theta grid for the verb give. Greg gave Marie the ball. So Greg is the source agent, the ball is the theme, and the goal is Marie.
And so according to generative grammar, we walk around with this lexicon in our head, which gives us the theta grid for all these verbs. So when we're constructing a sentence with the verb give, we kind of intuitively know that there must be a source or agent, there must be a theme, and there must be a goal. And then we then map those theta roles onto one argument each in accordance with the theta criterion.
So we're going to try another example with the verb picked. P.D. Pablo picked a pepper in the park. The source agent is P.D. Pablo, the theme is a pepper, and the source is in the ground.
Yeah, and you'll notice at the bottom here that there's these little subscripts. So
the index is there.
yeah, so just like with binding, we use indices for showing how theta roles are mapped onto arguments. Here's another example, the theta grid for drop. If knowing, as we do as good speakers of English, drop has the requirements of a source or agent, a theme, and a goal.
And remember, there's only one for one. So what is the error in this sentence? The dog dropped the bone, the toy, in the ground.
Should be clear that we have two themes, and you'll see that here that there's the subscript J on both the bone and the toy. This violates a theta criterion, which again states that one argument per theta role, one theta role per argument. So we have two arguments, the bone and the toy, both being given the theme theta role, which is why this is an ungrammatical sentence.
So now we're going to look at the explicitive subject, which is also known as a pleonastic subject. If you're not familiar with the word pleonastic, it is the Greek word for abundant or redundant.
Yeah, so the expletive subject is a subject also that can be also called a dummy subject. It's a subject when basically there would be no subject otherwise. It's common with weather verbs. So let's look at down here, the first example. It's raining. What is raining? Well, it is raining. What is it? Doesn't really have much of a meaning. With it's dark in here, what exactly is it? It's a pleonastic subject. It doesn't really have much semantic meaning to it.
So for the pleonastic explicitive pronouns, so once again, these words are exchangeable. Weather-related it's do not get theta roles. So in the sentence, it's raining, there is no source and agent, and there is no theme. They're in fact null.
Yeah, it's pretty weird at first, but weather verbs don't have any theta roles. Wrap your head around that one if you can.
So in the case of non-weather related it sentences, such as it's on the table, pleonastic explicit pronouns do get a theta role. So the source agent is on the table and the theme is it.
Mm-hmm. So it's not it in all cases that is a pleonastic subject. You'll see it as a pleonastic subject most often with weather verbs.
So now we look at the explicitive insertion rule, which basically suggests that when there is no theta-marked subject and no explicitive subject, you have to add the dummy it. Comes down to no subject, insert it.
Yep, pretty easy. If there isn't a subject, make a subject by adding it. And the it, once again, is a pleonastic subject. It really doesn't have any lexical meaning.
So this brings us to our last point with the extended projection principle, which suggests that all clauses must have subjects, such as that it will rain is a subject. It, in this context, is a subject. And then there is a null subject for is likely that will rain, which results in an ungrammatical sentence. Once again, we must have subjects.
Mm-hmm. So we can see here that if we start a sentence with a complement clause, acting as the noun, acting as the subject, that it will rain, it serves as the subject. The same semantic meaning, it is likely it will rain, we have the pleonastic it operating as the subject. However, the same lexical meaning is likely that it will rain is ungrammatical because there is no subject it. The extended projection principle dictates that all clauses must have subjects. The way we get around this is by adding a subject via the expletive insertion rule. So there's actually a really important thing to note here, which is that there's an order to all the things we've been talking about so far. We have in our head the lexicon, which contains the theta grids, all the theta roles that must be mapped onto arguments according to the nature of the verb. That happens first of all. We then get to X-bar rules. This is how grammatical, generative grammar assumes that we kind of compute sentences in order to create grammatical sentences. There's then X-bar rules. There's then the theta criterion, which states once again that one argument per theta role, one theta role per argument. After that, after we've mapped on theta roles to arguments in a one-to-one nature, there's the expletive insertion rule. So if there isn't a subject, we insert a dummy it. After inserting the dummy it, the extended projection principle comes into play. And the extended projection principle states simply that all clauses must have subjects. Finally, we then as expert speakers can make our grammaticality judgments. So again, the order is important here. We map theta roles onto arguments in a one-to-one nature. If there is no subject, one is then created via a pleonastic or dummy it, and then the rule comes into play that all clauses must have subjects. So there is no subject, you make one, and then the rule that says all clauses must have subjects is applied. So the order is very important there. And that's it.
Thank you.
Have a good day.